Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hope it's visible. Everything's okay. Is the sound okay? Okay. I'm gonna get me some coffee first. Disturb. Alaikum salam. Can you guys hear me? Let me put on the mic. There we go. Can everyone hear me? Assalamu alaikum. Yes, I can. Okay. For the people on Instagram, I'm going to be starting the lecture fasting or feasting, inshallah. We're just waiting for more people to join in, and then we can start. This stand is very shaky. I'm sorry in advance if the phone suddenly just falls off and you see nothing. I'll try and pick it up again quickly if it happens. Instagram people, how much time we got? It's 9:30 already, right? Yeah, it's 9:32. Save the live chat, inshallah. I'll try and do that. I never knew that you could save the live chat, but my friend said you can, so I'm sure there is a way. I'll find it after I finish. Okay. I guess we can start, and then slowly people can join in. I understand, so it can be watched later. We'll do inshallah. طيب. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. فحياكم الله وبياكم. I thank you all for dedicating this time to come and join me and hear me out, and inshallah it'll be something beneficial. First of all, I'd like to talk a bit about my experience with food. In this life, in my life, I've been fascinated with two things. One of them, of course, is religion. I like to read about religion and understand it more and whatnot. And the second thing that I'm very interested about is nutrition and health and fitness. And that's why maybe I picked up a couple of certificates in fitness, and I also I've had a gym before. I've owned a gym and I've closed it down because it wasn't very successful. But yeah, that's why I just wanted to say that this is something that I've experienced myself, which of course I'm talking about nutrition and fitness and food and whatnot. And today's lecture is talking about, well, I'm talking, I hope that's fine with everyone. So, and the interesting part is everybody I've met throughout my experience in fitness and nutrition and food, they've always had the problem with food. Everybody has a challenge with food, whether it's too much or too little. So there's always a matter of food and some challenge in it. Everybody has that, and everybody wants to lose weight, and everybody, or some people want to gain weight. So that's that. It's a problem for everyone, and it's a very complex thing to talk about. And inshallah, we can cover a couple of points today. طيب, first of all, I'd like to first start with Islam. Islam as a religion is a guide to life. Okay, it's a guide to life. Islam is complete, and it's a guidance not only with your relationship with Allah. Okay, as some people think that Islam is just guidance and a manual, sort to say, to how to worship Allah. Your relationship with Allah is Islam. That's it, full stop. And there is the other extreme part where they think it's just your manners. That's what Islam is all about. You with your relationship with Allah, that doesn't matter. That you can deal with it yourself the way you want it. And that's, of course, a deviant kind of thought and concept. Islam is both. Islam teaches you and guides you how to have a relationship with Allah, okay, your creator, and also how to have a relationship with others, and also how to deal with yourself, how to live life in general. Allah Azza wa Jalla يقول قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين. Say, O Muhammad, and of course that's a message for all of us, the nation of Islam, that your rituals, your worship, your life, and your death is for Allah, which means Islam. So it's not correct when we talk about a subject and we say, hey, leave religion out of this. No, religion has a concept or an approach to everything in life. Okay, and one of the things that Islam and jurisprudence, which is of course fiqh in Arabic, revolves around 5 essentials, 5 ضروريات الخمس منها الدين. Islam and the Sharia. One second, it's the message of being 10 o'clock. Islam and the Sharia of Islam came and told us this is halal, this is haram, this is makruh, this is whatnot, this is all that, do this, don't do that, because it wants to preserve the 5 essentials. One of them is ad-din. Ad-din is one of the 5 main essentials, okay? And then there is al-aql, the mind. So Islam came to preserve your mind and make it a good mind, not ruin it with things. That's why in Islam, drugs are haram. It's one of the major sins. Alcohol, drinking alcohol is haram because يذهب العقل, يسكر العقل, and that defies and conflicts with the essential of Islam, which is preserving your mind. And one of the essentials of Islam, also the third part, is preserving yourself. النفس, حفظ النفس, ومنها أيضا حفظ المال, preserving your wealth, ومنها حفظ العرض, honor. So these are the 5 essentials that Islam came to preserve in our lives. Now, one of the things that are that's very important, not only to humans, but to any living creature. Any living creature. Let me see how much time we have. Okay. Any living creature needs to eat. We all need to eat. And Islam came and talked about food and talked about how should we eat and what should we eat. But in general, it didn't give you details. It's not a research study about food and nutrition and macros and carbs and fats and proteins. No, it gives you the general idea. Why? Because it can harm one of these essentials. It can harm yourself. النفس إذا تضر النفس فهذا الإسلام لا يريده. والإسلام recommends that you preserve yourself, your health. is actually one of the preservation that Islam seeks. And so throughout time, food is something that's very essential. Everybody eats. The animals, the humans, every living creature eats. Islam, when it comes to food, let me give you a bit of fiqh here. There is times and situations where food is wajib. Wajib means obligatory. Because for example, if you're gonna die and you need to eat, in order to survive you need to eat, then this food you eating has become obligatory because Islam doesn't want you to die. Yeah, that's one thing. Now, and there is sometimes in some situations, al-akl yakunu haram. It's not permissible. That's of course when we are fasting. If you're fasting, can you eat? No, food has become haram to you, right? And then there are other times where food is mustahab. For example, as-suhoor. As-suhoor, mustahab. That's eating right before Fajr prayer, right? That's suhoor. So when you eat, that's mustahab and you get rewarded for it. But if you don't eat, you don't get punished, or you're not committing a sin, but it's mustahab. Now, there is also a time or situation where food is makruh. Makruh hina yadurruka. If it harms you or you eat excessively. That's why the Prophet ﷺ gave us a very nice and concise diet plan. And to tell you something, experience about diets, I've tried a couple of, actually many diets in my journey to fitness. First, I've tried the paleo diet, which is of course a lot of protein and no bread, no rice, nothing preserved, whatnot. And it was nice, but it was very tiring and it cannot be sustained. And I've tried a couple of other diets, like low carb diets, which is also of course the paleo. I've tried like eating mostly vegetables. I've tried the whole diet, which is like just eat whatever but lower your calories. And I've noticed that Islam has the best diet. Honestly, it has the best diet. Allah Azza wa Jalla yaqul in one ayah, and it's very short and nice, and gives you the khulasa, the summary of all diets. And today there's a lot of research, there's a lot of talk about diets. Why don't you try the keto diet? Why don't you try the vegetarian diet? Why don't you try this diet and that diet? And honestly, it's very obvious that these people are just in it for, this is all exaggerated. And to tell you the truth, I've looked it up and looked up a lot of these things. There's a lot of research saying this is right and this is wrong and this is right, and it's really confusing. Okay, so the research, it's still not that clear. Allah Azza wa Jalla yaqul, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. That's it. Just eat and drink, but don't do it excessively. And subhanallah, this is what I have experienced myself and everybody else. If you want to try it out, just eat and don't restrict yourself with certain foods, but eat with the right amount. And the Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, it's a beautiful hadith, subhanallah. He says, مَا مَلَأَ ابْنُ آدَمْ وِعَاءٌ أَشَرُّ مِنْ بَطْنِهِ. The son of Adam did not fill a stomach or fill a vessel more harmful than his stomach. A vessel, so that's the most harmful thing that you can fill up is your stomach. And then he says, it is enough for him to have a few bites just to survive and keep going and be active. And if you have to eat, and oh my God, this food is great, فَثُلُثٌ لِطَعَامِكَ وَثُلُثٌ لِشَرَابِكَ وَثُلُثٌ لِنَفَسِكَ. For 1/3 of your stomach should be for food, 1/3 should be for drinks, and 1/3 should be for air you can just breathe. And this is the Islamic diet. I call it the Islamic diet because this is so summarized, so clear, so simple, and yet so effective. It's so effective. I've tried it myself, and it's wonderful. Okay. In other words, if you want to translate it scientifically, it's really calories in and calories out. You eat less calories and you're healthy. Alhamdulillah. That's it. That's life. That's nutrition, and that's how simple it is. Alhamdulillah for that. Now, I wanted to talk to you, of course. Now, what I was saying about Islam, about food, and we have to understand something. Sometimes eating food is disliked, like I just mentioned. The Prophet ﷺ criticized the people who fill up their stomach. As a matter of fact, this is linked to the temptation of the world. See, you never find anybody who's in dunya, is right, where I think we're mostly Arabic. So the dunya is this world, and this materialistic world, and we call it dunya in Arabic. And dunya is derived from the word dunu or dani. Dani means low, and that's the dunya. That's the world. In Arabic, we call it dunya because it's so low. Daniya. The dunya and the temptations of the world is something that's low. It shouldn't be controlling you. It shouldn't be controlling you. And food is part of that. Food is part of that. I honestly don't know if it's correct to call it addiction or not, but a lot of people today are addicted to food. We don't differentiate between hungry and indulgence. Indulgence is when you feel like eating something. But when you ask yourself, really, are you hungry? Are you really hungry that you want that? You're like, no, not really hungry, but I just feel like a burger. And that's weird. That's weird because our, al-fitra, animalistic instinct that we have, we eat to live. We don't live to eat. And that's something Islam came and taught us. The Prophet ﷺ, in his life, he meant that he was not an excessive eater. He ate so little. As a matter of fact, Aisha radiallahu anha, she used to say that it would pass months in our house and we wouldn't light a fire. That means they don't cook anything. All they eat is a tamar, which is dates, and some water. And that's it. And subhanallah, that back then, it wasn't convenient like now, like cars and electronics and talabat and Zomato. I'm not doing any advertisement, but I'm just giving examples. So it wasn't all that. It was, you have to work hard, you have to walk, you have to, there is battles, there is a da'wah back in the Prophet ﷺ's time. So it was quite a physical daily life. And on top of that, they never used to eat that much. It wasn't that convenient. There were no McDonald's joints and Subways and cafeterias and all that. And so this is what the Prophet ﷺ is teaching us, the Islamic way on eating. Now, even the people after the Prophet ﷺ, that was their way of life, and in eating, it was disliked that people would eat a lot. And as a matter of fact, that some of these people, like subhanallah, one time Umar he was carrying some meat with him, and he said, "Ma hada ya fulan? What are you carrying with you?" And he told Umar, he's like, "This is meat. I feel like eating meat, so I bought meat." And he's like, subhanallah, every time you feel like eating something, you're gonna have to eat it. He's like, no, this is not the Islamic way. The Islamic way is you keep the temptations away from your heart. You don't let it control you. And that's something very important that people, or we Muslims, needs to do. And I'm not saying this because I've mastered this. No, I'm just as you. I feel guilty, but I had some excessive food at fasting. So this is something very, very difficult, but this is the Islamic way, and this is what we need to do. We need to not get involved or indulge too much with food. And I'm not saying it's haram, Don't misunderstand me, please. It's not haram. It's disliked to eat excessively. And sometimes a shaitan, one of the traps of shaitan, what does he do? He brings you mubahat, permissible things. If he can't get you with haram, if he can't get you with shirk, if he can't get you to drink alcohol or do all these crazy things, he's gonna come and give you the mubahat, the permissible things, and then he's going to make you exaggerate in them until dunya is in your heart. And when dunya is in your heart, you slowly, gradually start moving and leaning towards haram and sin and slowly away from Allah. That's why the people who came before us, the pious people, as-salaf, used to be very, very keen on not eating whatever they like. They try to eat to survive. And so, now we come to Ramadan. Let's talk about Ramadan for a bit. Ramadan as a concept, of course, it's a month of barakah, it's a month of rahmah, and it's a month of resisting temptations. That's why Allah Azza wa Jal has prescribed to us as-siyam. As-siyam, fasting, is when you restrict yourself from food and drinks mainly, and of course other things that you do, talking ghiba, backbiting, or having relationship with your wife. But mainly, and these are the three things: food, drink, and sexual intercourse. So food and drink. And this is what it's trying to teach us. Number one, before that, Ramadan and fasting is an act of worship. So you have to increase your acts of worship, you have to pick up habits, good habits, you have to get closer to a stronger person. It's teaching you to resist. And it's a misconception in Ramadan when people, after they break their fast, they think that they need to compensate for the hours that they've lost and they didn't eat. They're like, okay, now we need to eat double because we haven't eaten for 12 hours or so. So we need to eat for 12 hours, equivalent to the 12 hours, and on top of that, have dinner. And this is wrong. The Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba and everybody who came after them didn't have Ramadan is like that. Ramadan was not about food. It's actually about less food, and this is a misconception we have. And subhanAllah, today you go to the jam'iyya or the co-op, the supermarket or the hypermarket and all that, and you see the people there just piling up food. And then after they break their fast, you go to the dustbins and all that, and you see it's filled. So that means people are eating a lot, and this is not the spirit of Ramadan. This is not the spirit of Ramadan. This is a misconception. This is actually the opposite of what Ramadan is. Even at suhoor, people, what do? They have biryanis and whatnot. They have a whole buffet. Because why? Because they're worried. They're like, okay, I'm not going to eat for 12 hours, so I can't be hungry. I cannot be hungry. The objective is I shouldn't feel hungry. That's not Ramadan. It's not Ramadan. Ramadan is not. You should feel hungry. You feel hungry. Feel hungry because that's the spirit of Ramadan. Is you feel hungry and you resist and you're stronger and you're pushing back your temptations. You're thirsty and you're like, no, I don't want to drink. I don't want to eat. And I'm feeling that pain for Allah. Sacrifice for Allah. And so people need to understand that. I know it's a bit painful, but then alhamdulillah, you pick up these things, and a human being, I know they don't like change. We don't like change, but after some time you pick up a habit, it becomes normal to you. And so this is the concept of Ramadan, is to resist temptation, and to resist the indulgence of food. Oh, I feel like sushi, I feel like burgers, I feel like this, and you go and do it. Because that gets you closer to dunya and far away from Allah. Let me give you this. If you start eating a lot, even in Ramadan, anywhere, okay? We also do it in fitness. When you eat a lot, what happens? You become sluggish. You become really, I can't move. Oof, I'm so tired. Where their objective is, how can I be as active as I can during the day? Why? Because I want to worship Allah. Because I don't want to waste my time sleeping all the time and recovering. No. I want to stay active and I want to worship Allah and get things done. I want to be more productive in my daily life. This is the Islamic way. But when you eat a lot, and that's what happens, your body just becomes sluggish and tired and like, oh, I can't move, I can't do this, I can't do that. And that's even in training. When we train, before you train, they always tell you, don't overeat. Eat a little bit just to get you by. And that, I remind you of the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, حَسْبُ ابْنُ آدَمْ أُكَيْلَاتْ يُقِمْنَ صُلْبَةً. Just a couple of bites, just so you can move on and be active and productive in your life. Don't overeat, because then your productivity will go down. You can try this. You have a body, you have a stomach, you can try this. Eat a lot, and I think everybody has tried this before. You'll feel so sluggish, and so eat a little bit, something healthy and nice and light. You'll feel very active. And so, this is about Ramadan. And Ramadan is about not eating, it's about fasting and not feasting. Okay? And I wanted to talk to you about some sunnahs that we do in Ramadan. One of the things that we do in Ramadan is when you eat in futur time, at-ta'jilu, don't waste any time and being hasty when you break your fast. Some people, what do? SubhanAllah, maybe they're busy with something or they're working or whatnot, and they're like, oh, later, I'll eat later. Or they're sleeping and they're like, no, I don't want to eat, I want to sleep now. And that's wrong. The Prophet ﷺ كان يعجل في الفطور. So that's one of the sunnahs, that you eat as soon as the adhan al-maghrib starts or is called, you eat. Okay? And also a sunnah في al-futur, that you eat dates. It's a sunnah. What does sunnah means? Sunnah معناه يثاب فاعله ولا يؤثم تاركه. That you are rewarded if you do it, but you're not punished that if you don't do it. Okay, that's the sunnah. That means it's sunnah in fiqh. When they say it's a sunnah, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Relax, do it, because you get rewarded for it. Okay, so the sunnah is you eat dates. Okay, I didn't find any dates. What should I do? Very simple. Drink water. That's also a sunnah. Okay, first is dates. If you don't find dates, drink water. And dates, any kind of dates, ratab, sih, whatever. Okay, that's number one. Number two, as-sunnah fi as-suhoor. And when I say tuakhir, means make it as late as you can, right before right before adhan al-fajr. Right before adhan al-fajr, you can eat. And when I say suhoor, like I said, as-sunnah is to eat lightly. Not barakah means you eat a big plate of biryani or whatever. No, the sunnah is that you just eat. And the Prophet ﷺ used to have suhoor. His suhoor was dates and maybe water. Okay, so that's the sunnah also. And also a sunnah in when you do futur, you don't eat excessively. That I mentioned, and I think I elaborated a lot on that. So you don't eat excessively, so you don't get heavy and sluggish, and then when it comes to prayer time, you're like, oh, I don't feel like praying, or maybe you'll give a discount to yourself and you don't pray, and you know the tarawih, what I mean. And so this is the sunnah when it comes to eating in Ramadan, and also after Ramadan or before Ramadan. That's and this is something very important. In Ramadan, we have 1 month, and this is a very, very good time to pick up these habits, to pick up the habit of not eating a lot, of not eating excessively, and really doing it the Islamic way. And this is, I'm telling you, I'm being very honest here. This is something hard for me too, because nowadays with food, what happens is this necessity of life. Companies and organizations and food companies have made it an indulgence. Okay, they've played with our minds. I'm not talking about conspiracy theories here, huh? But this is a logic, and this is logical, that you see that these companies, they want to make money. So they color the foods, they make it very representing, they make it, they wrap it up and they do the branding of it, so you go crazy. And this is something, if you have kids, look at them, how they react to McDonald's or the Happy Meal. They go crazy. And they're kids, they don't know anything, but because of the Happy Meal, they like, oh, the Happy Meal, and I love it, and they get a toy inside and all that. What's all that? They're attracting you. And also these big restaurants with seatings and the decoration and the way they make the food, and they get a chef from, I don't know, France or whatever to cook you the best food in the world. Let's ask yourself this, a very serious and honest question. Do you need all that, extremists or whatever? It's not haram, but don't make it a habit. SubhanAllah, some people every day, every 2 days, they have to go out and they have to eat out and they have to order out and they have to eat and indulge in whatever food they want. And this is wrong. Not because only is it, of course, it costs so much and it just makes you fat. And when you're fat, you're inconfident, you're not happy with yourself. It's a lot of psychological kind of conflict happens inside. So there's a whole world of negativity when you eat a lot. But when you eat little and you eat just to live, okay, the Islamic way, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. This is the best way to live. You live happier, you live more active, more productive. You live, if you, of course, you have the intention that you're doing it for Allah, you'll get rewarded for this. Leaving the food because you want it for Allah, that you get rewarded for it, because Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam يقول إنما الأعمال بالنيات. You have your intention of doing that to Allah, then you'll get rewarded for it. So this is what I had to say, and inshallah we pick up this habit, me and everybody else, this Ramadan, that we don't eat excessively. And I know it's very difficult because of the COVID-19. Also, you're sitting at home, you're not doing anything, and it's a lockdown. You're just sitting there, you're like, okay, what do I do? You work out a bit, and then you're like, no, that doesn't feel like it's in the gym. And you just eat, and it's Ramadan, and you can't control. but it's a trial. كله امتحان وكله يعني إن شاء الله أجر experience all of it. So إن شاء الله نسأل الله عز وجل أن يقدرنا على فعل الخير وأن يجنبنا الأمراض وكثرة الأكل والشبع وكل هذا لله طبعا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. If you guys have any comments or any questions or anything like that, please shoot. If I missed something or maybe there's a point I need to elaborate on, I'm looking here on Instagram and I'm looking here on Facebook. Anybody has anything? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and good night. Okay, switch it off and I'll remember to save it and then I'll broadcast it. Okay. Okay, there's a question. Sorry, before I stop. What diet should you follow? Like I said, just wakulu washrabu wala tusrifu. Eat and drink and don't exaggerate. That's it. Eat whatever you want. Of course, eat healthy things. Less preservative things. Nice, healthy things. You know, things that are whole food, fresh food, meats, fish, chicken, whatever. It's halal, of course. And that's it. Just don't eat excessively. And from time to time, you can eat some junk food. That's fine also. It's not haram or anything. But the most importantly, don't exaggerate in eating, and don't make food in your heart. Like, you know, some people go crazy if they don't eat like a certain kind of food, like a burger or McDonald's or Kentucky or whatever, KFC. I'm sorry I'm mentioning all these names. Inshallah, I don't get sued for that or anything like that. I don't have a problem with anything, junk food or whatever. It's all good. Just don't eat excessively. Wallahu a'lam. And I'm against all diets, right? Keto diet, paleo diet, Atkins diet, vegetarian diet, all that stuff. I'm against all that. I think it's misquoted and misleading, and it's not beneficial. Any other questions? No? Okay. Jazakum Allah khair. Assalamu alaikum.